Oh, so not everybody's having a terrible, horrible experience. Therefore, there is no problem.
What?
What are you talking about, bro?
The idea that the phrase school sucks exists. It's remarkable to me how
School
bad
sucks.
American public schools are, beyond the idea of how much we're spending, beyond scoring and tests and all that. These are miserable places kids hate. We make TV shows about kids beating each other, and we're wondering why there are school shootings.
And I mean, it's an interesting concept that's always been a thing. School sucks has always been a thing, and we just never even addressed it. We never thought anything twice about it. You know, it's one thing to say, "Oh, work sucks."
Work sucks. I know.
But this is for children. Just so I wouldn't let a 10-year-old decide what they should learn. But if you're like 16, 17, you should be able to have a focus on your potential career or job path. So that's completely not really. So a school choice is not about letting 10-year-olds decide what they want to learn. School choice is about letting the parents decide which school. Come on, more. We're doing a show here. Which school they're going to. So the curriculum is going to be set by the state and all that stuff. But if you live in a bad neighborhood, then you are stuck going to a crappy school. Whereas if we have, whether it's vouchers or some other way of doing school choice, then you can decide, okay, I'm going to send my kid to a better school.
Just moving on up.
At 10 years old. So it's not about what the child is choosing. It's the parent. Shout out to Seabass. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. No math, no science?
Science, also math.
Oh, yeah. Well, of course, you wouldn't want science, but no math either? In the most broad form, then it would just be whatever school you want. And so it could be a religious school, it could be a private school, or not a private school. Well, actually, I'm not really sure, depending on how it would be. But yeah. So, you know, it could be religious, non-religious. Come on. All that stuff. We got M169 in the building. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. Said parents should have a say in where kids go.
Those are my children, Mitch.
Yeah, I think the fact that, yeah, like I was saying, that if you're just born into whatever level, whatever quality of school, and that's certainly far from ideal. What habit are we talking about? Yeah, how dare you? How dare the parents get to decide what they want to do with their own children? Terrible. Again, I'm gonna say you definitely need to learn how to read and write, but I also think math and science are important too, and history is pretty up there. I mean, I'm good with history.
Tests and all that. These are miserable places kids hate. We make TV shows about kids beating.
You don't use money?
Each other, and we're wondering why there are school shootings.
Oh, when you put it like that.
And we're like, no. By law, they should be forced to go there.
I mean, when you type into Google, right? This is why you're bringing this up. When you type in school, the school sucks come up. Or when I think of school, if you type into Google, when I think of school, I think it'll say, I feel depressed. I want to cry. Or it's a lot of negative things. So
shooting comes up.
Oh. So, you know, I mean, this isn't an uncommon opinion, I think. Amigo is saying, here's my take, tough shit. You get to choose when you're an adult. We all went through it, boo-hoo. And, I mean, I think that, are you a Gen Xer? That sound, it's giving, as the Zoomers would say. It's giving Gen X. They say, well, I had to suffer, so everybody else should have to suffer too. And like, okay, I guess that's an opinion, but it's not like there's any benefit from the suffering. As you get older, these are the people who are going to be running society. So why wouldn't you want them to be at their best? Like, why suffering for the sake of suffering? That I don't get it. I don't get it.
Say so school. Well, that's not great either.
No, come on. But like, something is happening in these buildings that is shattering the minds of young people to the point.
Okay, maybe we don't need to go to calculus, but maybe basic arithmetic is a good place to start. 2 + 2 does not equal 5. I think that's a good thing to learn.
Come on. But like, something is happening in these buildings that is shattering the minds of young people to the point where we're seeing not just shootings. In Loudoun County, we had a girl get raped.
Unacceptable.
Unacceptable.
I'm sorry. I do not believe that the schooling system is redeemable. And I think the problem is adults are self-righteous and refuse to accept that kids in this country are suffering, depressed, and hate the environments.
Get over it.
And those that work their way through it are unaware of what could be. I mean, how is it that we have hit TV shows for 30 years, 30-year-old TV show that lasted for 7 or 8 years, where the premise is school is miserable and kids hate it. And it's basically every single show where kids are like, yes, school sucks.
What channel?
And the response
And again, like, why is that not something that we inherently want to address? Again, it doesn't have to be we need to make school so much fun that everybody wants to go down and do everything, and they never want to miss a day, and they always want to do their homework because the homework is. I'm not saying that.
That would be ridiculous.
But it should at least be engaging. We all had some kind of, well, depending on how old you are, but definitely if you're a millennial, you had some, a PC game that came on a disc that was educational, but it was fun. And you played it because it was entertaining and not because you were learning. All of education, for the most part, can be approached in that way.
from parents is always, you're just a bad kid who's lazy. That's insane.
Now, do you guys want another opinion here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because this is like one hand clapping right now. So here's an alternative way to look at this, all of this.
Indeed.
First of all, I just want to challenge you on the numbers. When you say 30,000 and then 7,000, so it's a big savings.
10,000 in DC. It's a little over 10,000 in DC for the voucher.
It's actually way more for the ESAs than you're predicting because it takes out special education for one, which is very expensive. Some of the ESAs went up to $40,000 in some cases when you include things like special education. So they were very expensive.
But they were spending that much in the government schools too for those same kids.
And
so it's still a fraction of what would have been spent.
I mean, I
already, I'm not liking the let me finish when it's like nobody's jumping down your throat. He just remember we were talking about the difference between interrupting somebody and an interjection. A good conversation should be a back and forth, but it shouldn't have to be you speak now and then you speak now and then you speak now and then you speak now. It should be a back and forth, and you should have the grace, another important part of the American identity. You should have the grace to understand that if somebody is jumping in to say something while you're talking, that they might just be adding something. And also, if somebody else is talking, you have something to say and you jump in, that you're not going to take over the conversation. You just add it and be done with it. Can I finish, please?
Spending that much in the government schools too for those same kids.
And
so
it's
it's still a fraction of what would have been spent.
I mean, I understand the strategy of talking over it, but you're
and just trying to call it out. Nah, not feeling it.
I mean, I understand the strategy of talking over it, but you are underestimating the cost of the ESAs and overestimating the cost of the public school, because the public schools have legacy costs and fixed costs that your new schools won't. Now, everything you just said, Tim.
Okay, so basically he's saying you guys are wrong because there's a difference between the how much money is there for public schools versus in these accounts for school choice. The film says also the kids do need to know who's the teacher having sex with. That's very important.
Like utmost importance, national security.
Of course, they can't learn unless they know. Mr. Teacher, are you getting a dick in your butt? What kind of school would not have that information?
I want to go to there.
Everything that you just said, Corey, everything you just said that's bad about the public school system, the answer to any of those things is not to put a bunch of kids with a bunch of money into an unregulated, accountability-free, quality-free system of private schools that nobody's going to be able to know what's happening to.
What? Who suggested that? As far as I understand it, we're just talking about the schools that already exist. Just going to a different school that already exists. Don't say the guy with the organized snapback looks like a summer's eve.
That's a tampon.
And I've been here less than 2 minutes, coming in hot. Yeah, he's
to those kids with, and that it's intentionally been written into the law that you can't measure them and you can't keep track of what they're doing on purpose. So it's not transparent at all. That's not the answer. But I do want to say
I'm doing my best to translate it, but he's not saying much.
Because I hear these conversations all the time, and I just wonder what country you guys live in.
America first.
Like it sounds like a media bubble to me. Everything's awful. Everything's terrible. There are 14,000 school districts in the United States, 100,000 schools in the United States. I guarantee you that not everybody's having the experience that you guys.
Oh, so not everybody's having a terrible, horrible experience. Therefore, there is no problem. What are you talking about, bro?
in the United States, 100,000 schools in the United States. I guarantee you that not everybody's having the experience. That you guys are painting the bleakest possible picture, but it's not what people are experiencing everywhere, and that's
not yet.
Just give it time.
How many different issues have we come to where somebody's saying, "Oh, it's not that bad. It's just this. You're overblowing this, and you're overblowing that," and 6 months later, it's like, "Oh, yeah. Well, actually, you're right. It was happening, but actually, it's a good thing."
This is great.
The same playbook over and over and over and over and over again. All the COVID stuff, all the trans stuff, all the CRT stuff, all of that. Always saying, "No, that's not happening. That's not happening. That's not happening. That's just one school. That's just one thing. That's just one thing. That's just one thing." Well, it's only a couple places. It's 5%. The point is, if it is happening and it's happening more, even if it's only in a few select places, we don't want it to spread. That is the point. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed that clip, check out the full live stream link in the bio and catch me live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. See you there.